Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Om. Namaste friends. A warm welcome to session 8 of Drik, Drishya, Viveka. Over the last 2 months, we have been studying about who is the seer and who is the seen, and have we developed the Viveka or the discrimination to know the difference between the two, and whom are we identifying with? This is something that we have to inquire. And the text has been so beautifully elaborating on the different means that we can use to get this realization and to meditate upon this realization. We have understood so much about meditation, and we are so grateful that this is the place where, if we want to know, if we want authentic information about our scriptures, if we want to know what they're really telling us, then we're really grateful to our gurus who have made this information available to us in such an easy to understand format. With that, our speakers for today will be first we will have the recap by Dr. Satyanarayana, and then our review teacher, Dr. Timappa Hegde sir, will introduce the topic and take us through the class. And then we have speakers, Srimati Rama Gopal Krishna Madam, Srimati Purnima, Dr. Rupa, um, and yeah, who will take us through this class. Now I request Dr. Satyanarayana to please give us a recap of the previous class.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So from 13th verse up to 21st verse, the author has dealt with a central theme of the text, namely Samsara Karanam and Samsara Parihara. And he said Samsara Karanam is the ignorance based on mixing up of real and unreal. Then the two verses 22 and 23 introduce the 6 samadhis in the chart form. And from 24 onwards till verse 31st, the author talks about the practice of each one. Next slide. So totally there are 6 samadhis. 3 subtypes of Antara Samadhi and 3 subtypes of Bahya Samadhi. So Antara Drishyanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi is in verse 24. Antara Shabdanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi is in verse 25. Antara Nirvikalpa Samadhi in verse 26. Then comes Bahya Drishyanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi in verse 27, Bahya Shabdanuvidya Savikalpa Samadhi in verse 28, and Bahya Nirvikalpa Samadhi in verse 29. And at the end, he will say, practice the 6. According to your attitude, practice any one. This is going to be the approach. So, Samadhi can be divided into Antara Samadhi and Bahya Samadhi. And each of it can be divided into Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa, and each of Savikalpa can be divided into Drishyanuvidya and Shabdanuvidya. So that is how we have 6 Samadhis. Let us see the difference first. What is Savikalpa Samadhi? It is a deliberate, effortful absorption. Vikalpa is division. There can be subject-object duality. You consciously focus on support, like a thought or a word, to dwell on consciousness, that is Chaitanyam, or existence, that is Sat. Example, using your hand to meditate, then removing the hand but retaining the light in the mind. That is, keep the hand there. Thus, I am using the hand to help you focus on, to appreciate the light. Therefore, even though I am showing the hand, my intention is not your perception of the hand. I am using this hand as a reflecting medium. You cannot see the hand by itself. There is something else. At last, I can turn your attention to the light. Thus, the hand is used as an aid to appreciate the light. So there are two types of this Savikalpa Samadhi. Next slide. First type is Drishyanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. What is this? Drishya is perceived object, either in thought or in the forms. Anuviddha is associated with. So shift attention from the thought to consciousness, illuminating it. The thought is the reflector to recognize the Sakshi, witness behind it. The object or the thought is a tool to point you to the object or subject or consciousness. Imagine a hall, imagine moving people and objects, and gradually turn your attention to light, because of which the arriving and departing things are being able to notice. So first you turn your attention from object to light and appreciate that there is light. Because of whatever is effortlessly available, we take it for granted. It is not that you don't experience the light. Light is experienced every moment. Our problem is not lack of experience. Our problem is we take it for granted. We don't pay attention to that. So next type is Shabdanuviddha Savikalpa Samadhi. So what is this? Shabda is Vedantic word. Either example Satyam or Jnanam, Anantam or Brahman. So use these scriptural words to dwell on your true nature. Example, I am existence, consciousness, bliss. Associate these words with yourself. I am Sat Chit Ananda. Unlike Drishyanuviddha, here you bypass the object and directly use Vedantic declaration words, acting as a pointer to invoke self-knowledge without sensory or mental object. So, next slide. In internal meditation, I am spreading the thought and consciousness, whereas in external meditation, I separate object and existence. Savikalpa means with division and Nirvikalpa means without division. So in Savikalpa, we use the support of some aid, and in Nirvikalpa, there is no aid. Next slide. And the author says the methodology is same. In the internal Samadhi, Antara Drishyam, we took the thought first, and from the thought, we went to awareness, which is in every thought. Here, we don't take thought. We take any object from outside, and from the object, you switch over to the easiness. We have to take any external object such as a crutch, and from that object, we have to go to the Atma or Brahman. So Swamiji has given an example of a clip. This has Nama Rupa alone, which belongs to the clip. When we say the clip exists, the existence is there spread over the clip. So when we shift the attention from clipness to easiness, we have to come to Drishyanuviddha. We cannot switch over to consciousness because consciousness in the clip is not manifest, but existence is very much available. Drishyanuviddha is like using a mirror to see your face. That is thought consciousness. Whereas Shabdanuviddha is someone telling you you are beautiful. So no mirror is needed. Just trust in the words is required. Both lead to Nirvikalpa Samadhi. That is effortless absorption, where the support or the thought in the form of thought or words drops and only pure awareness remains. So next slide. Imagine meditating on a flame. So Drishyanuviddha is focus on the flame, that is object, and then shift to light pervading it. So in Shabdanuviddha, repeat, I am the light of consciousness. That is the Vedantic word there, absorbing its meaning. Both methods dissolve duality, but one starts with perception, the other with the scripture. Whereas Nirvikalpa Samadhi, which is without division, an effortless, spontaneous absorption where no object-subject division is felt. The mind rests in Akhandakara Vritti, that is a single undivided thought of I am Brahman without your will, like the flame in windless place, steady and undisturbed. So the key differences between Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa Samadhis are effort is requires willpower. That is, I am meditating in Savikalpa, whereas Nirvikalpa is effortless and it happens automatically. Whereas with respect to duality, meditation and object of meditation both exist in Savikalpa, but there is no such division in Nirvikalpa, like in deep sleep, but awake. State of mind is conscious focus is needed. Example on a mantra in Savikalpa, whereas here in Nirvikalpa, it is a subconscious flow. Analogy given for Savikalpa is pedaling a bicycle, whereas Nirvikalpa, it is bicycle moving on its own momentum. Just like pedaling builds momentum, effort build automatic movement, repeated Savikalpa leads to Nirvikalpa. First, you deliberately think, I am the witness. That is Savikalpa. Later, the thought flows on its own. That becomes Nirvikalpa. A common misconception is that Nirvikalpa is a thoughtless void or blankness. So it is wrong. It is a thought flow. That is Sukshma Vritti of I am Brahman. But you are not aware of it. Like dreaming without knowing that you are dreaming. So next slide. Savikalpa is like learning to ride a bicycle, whereas Nirvikalpa is riding without any effort or thinking. But the destination is reached by knowing the map. That is Vedanta and not just riding. Hari Om.
Thank you very much, Dr. Satyanarayana. That was an excellent recap of the important verses that we studied in the last class. We have to mute somebody. Somebody is creating a disturbance. Hold on just a minute, please. Venkatesh, can you put on your camera for a moment? I will make you the host.
I'm the host, sir, now.
Okay, you can stop anybody from...
I'm doing it, sir, but I couldn't trace it. Twice I made this. Shashidhara, please mute yourself always.
Because it keeps coming on again.
Geeta puts a message also, put a message also.
Okay.
I did it twice actually. Okay, sir. Right, sir. Sir,
Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Pariyantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. As we are coming to the end of one phase of Drik Viveka, in today's class, when we come to that verse Vidyate Hridaya Granthi, that is verse 31, most texts of Drik Viveka are completed. So we have come to a stage of completion, but there are a second version where it goes on up to verse 46, and we are continuing the longer version. So as we are in a transition, let us take back to see why are we studying Drishya Viveka, or for that matter, any scriptural text. Is it for some scholarship to say that I know what is Drishya Viveka, or is it for transformation? We have studied many texts, but there is something very unique about Drishya Viveka, the ability to transform a person to a higher level of Vedantic understanding happens uniquely in Drishya Viveka. And what is that transformation that we need to look for? I mentioned this right in the beginning of our study of Drishya Viveka. One common problem all of us students of Vedanta have, not only students of Vedanta, everybody has, and that is the capital in which a human being is born. And from the Vedantic angle, the problem is what is called Hridaya Granthi. It is like a knot in my heart. In Vedanta, when you say heart, you actually mean the mind, the antakaranam, the processing instrument. The instrument that processes all the information has got a basic problem. The basic problem technically is called avidya. Avidya means because of this mind, the mind keeps telling me, I am this limited body-mind complex, but not that limited Atma, although I am a combination of both. That means I do not know my true nature. Because I do not know my true nature and I want to come to my true nature, that means I want to become limitless. I have a lot of desires in my mind. I want to become big. I want to become so big. I want to be infinite. I want to be immortal. These are everybody's desires. And this desire manifests in the form of karma. Now, once karma comes into the mind, you cannot keep quiet. You have to work for it. You have to work on fulfilling your desires, and that is called karma. The moment I consciously do something, I incur punya or papa, and this creates a vicious cycle. What we understand is as punarapi Jnanam, punarapi Maranam, and all of us are caught in this vicious cycle. Fortunately, a guru comes into our life and takes us out from this whirlpool of suffering by giving us this knowledge, and that knowledge will break the knot in our heart. And how do we do it in this text? By doing a process of Viveka. Now, I'm seeing the world, and when I see the world, I have to analyze who is seeing. And in seeing, there are three levels. Is it through my eyes that I'm seeing? Is it because of my mind I know what I'm seeing? Or is there is some enlivening power which we know from our understanding of Vedanta as consciousness, Brahman or Atma, which is that which enlivens my mind, and because of my mind, my eyes are able to see everything, and that is called the seer number 3. As we go through process of Vedanta, there is one fundamental law. I am other than whatever I experience. In the famous Nidhidhyasanam shloka, Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chittani Naham. Whatever I see and experience, I can experience my body, experience my mind. I am not any of all these things. Now, in this exercise, what I realize, I am a combination of two things. One is this body-mind complex, and the other is the ultimate seer or the seer number 3. The whole text is trying to say, can we make a inquiry in every transaction of my life? Am I focusing from my body-mind complex, which is so limited, or am I focusing from the Atma Tattva or being anchored in my Atma Tattva and using my body-mind for all transactions? So therefore, analyze every experience. This is what Kenopanishad says, Prati Bodha Viditam Matam. In every knowledge, in every experience. This question, am I seeing it from seer number 1, my eyes? Am I seeing it from my mind? Or am I seeing the seer? The quintessence of meditation is the ability to be able to become aware of that conscious principle, Atma Tattva, which enlivens my mind, which makes my sense organs so functional. To repeat this slide, so there is this Atma Tattva, which we call here as seer number 3, which enlivens my mind, which enlivens my sense organs. And because of this, I'm able to see the Drishya. And because I'm able to see my eyes and my mind also, my mind and my sense organs come under the category of seen. And I need to make that conscious distinction between the anatma, which is experienced or seen, and the Atma, that is the seer. Among all the verses that we have said, there is one verse, number 8, Ahankarasya tadatmyam chitchaya deha sakshibihi sahajam karmajam brantihi janyam cha trividam kramat. Now, what does this verse say? Trividam. There are 3 things that we need to be able to see. I have a mind, and on the mind there is the reflected consciousness. That means when I'm fast asleep, my mind is asleep, there is no reflected consciousness. The moment moment I wake up, the mind wakes up, and like the mirror is available to reflect the consciousness. Sahajam means wherever the mirror is, the reflection is there. Wherever the mind is, the reflected consciousness and the mirror go and the mind go together, and that is called sahajam. What is the relationship between my mind and my body? And that is called karmajam. These 2 things have come together because of my prarabdha karma. And when my prarabdha karma is exhausted, the mind gets separated from the body. Another beautiful understanding by Vidyaranya Swamy. What is the connection between my mind and the Atma? That means mind is seer number 2, Atma is seer number 3. Branti jam means there is no real connection because they are of 2 different orders of reality. Verse number 8, very important verse. Keep in your mind because many of these body-mind concepts are very clearly classified. Finally, let us understand this. In Drik, Drishya, Viveka, we are a mixture of Ahankara and Sakshi. And this comes into being only in dream and in waking state. Ahankara is constantly changing. Atma never undergoes any change. Na udeti, na astameti. It does not arise, it does not set. That means there is something in me that never changes. There is something in me that is always changing. Now, Drik Drishya Viveka is for one reason. As Ahankara, there is no permanent solution to any problem. I solve one problem today, tomorrow I battle another problem. As Sakshi, there is no problem. Therefore, if you want problem solving from Vedantic angle, open your eyes to Vedantic wisdom and claim absolute clearly, I am Atma, Brahma, functioning from a limited body-mind complex. Worldly problems will come, and use Titiksha, Matra, Sparsha, Sukhaunteya to handle worldly problems so that they do not adversely affect you. In Driktrishya Viveka, like in all Vedanta, we say, what is the cause of all problems? Maya Devi. When Maya Devi comes when? In waking and dream. In deep sleep, Maya Devi's power is not there. In Samadhi, that is also not there. So in this state, when I'm awake or in dream, Maya Devi has got two powers in the waking state. In dream state, we will call Nidra Shakti. Very similar, but there is slight difference. Shakti Dvayam hi Maya, Vikshepa, and Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. Now, because of Avarana Shakti, I do not know my true nature. That is where my avidya comes in, the initial problem of my Hridaya Granthi. And because of the Vikshepa, I begin to think that whatever I have projected is real and begin to rely on an unreal world rather than relying on myself. Now, once I know the cause of samsara, then how do I solve this problem? By Drik Viveka and Drishya Viveka. That means whenever I see any object in my mind, that means there is a thought. I'm seeing the wall in front of me. I can see there is a thought. So the thought in my mind, and who is seeing this thought? This is Antara Drik Drishyo Viveka. When I'm seeing the wall outside, it looks only wall, but I know that it is consciousness in me that is giving existence to that wall. And if I see that wall as existence and not just wall, then I'm able to see Brahman both inside and Brahman outside. So the remedy is Drik Viveka inside and Drishya Viveka outside. So this is what we have learned. Ultimately, there's another great verse. Asti Bhati Priyam Rupam Nama Ched Iti Amsha Panchakam Adhyatrayam Brahma Rupe Jagat Rupe Tatodvayam. I'm seeing this monitor, a computer in front of me. This is existent, Asti. It manifests. It is Priya. It is liked by all of us. And then there is Nama and Rupa. It is called computer and it has got a particular form. Adhyatrayam, the first three, Asti Bhati Priya Satchit Ananda, is Brahma Rupam. Nama Rupa is Tatodvayam. Those two are unreal. Now, one thing that we need to be able to understand is this problem of what is this existence. A little later, we will be going from, Drik Drishya Viveka is a very advanced topic. And when we study Drik Drishya Viveka and we have understood it, we have to go to something of that level. After this, my suggestion is that we go to Panchadashi. Panchadashi chapter 1 is absolutely amazing in bringing our understandings as clear as we had in Atma Bodha and Drik Drishya Viveka. You will enjoy Panchadashi chapter 1. But Panchadashi chapter 2 is one chapter where you learn about what is this existence, where Vidyaranya takes one verse. Sadeva Saumya Idamagre Asid Ekam Eva Advitiyam. He takes this whole topic of existence. We studied in Tripti Deepa, Atmanam Ched Vijaniyat. One verse was taken and made 298 verses or 97 verses. In chapter 2 of Panchadashi, everything is about what is this existence. We will enjoy that when we come, that whatever I see is Nama Rupa on existence. Now we have come towards the end. We will study this verse today. Dehabhimane galite. You remember what Bhagwan Ramana says? Naham deham. Naham deham means dehabhimani galite. I have dropped this identification. Naham deham. And then vijnate paramatmani. Now, why does this dehabhimane galite? Why does the body mind drop? Because now I know through Drik Drishya, I am not the body mind. I am Atma Brahma. This is vijnate paramatmani. And then something magical happens. It will be explained in class today. Yatra yatra manoyati. You don't have to do meditation after that. Wherever your mind goes, tatra tatra samadhaya. Maybe I have to take another class entirely. Maybe I will do it in the next class. This verse, we will meditate more of it in the next class. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. That means the knot of my heart has been opened because of Drik Drishya Viveka. And what is the byproduct? All my doubts are cleared. All my karmas are gone. Tasmin drishte paravare. We will explain it in the subsequent classes, but we will study that today in the quiz also. And then we'll be entering into a new aspect of Drik Drishya Viveka. Purnima will be explaining the first verse of the second type of Drik Drishya Viveka, where instead of seeing myself as seer 1 sense organ, seer 2 mind, seer 3 the Atma, I will see myself as 3 self. The Pratibhasika, Vyavahara, and the Paramarthika Jiva. We'll have 3 Jivas that will be explained in class today. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Our opening verse will be explained to us by Ramaji. Ramaji, please.
Harihi Om, Shri Guru Pyo Namaha. Drishya Viveka, Shloka 29. By the practice of samadhis described in the shlokas 22 to 29, the seeker realizes his own self as the pure existence, consciousness, and bliss. Continuous practice of these meditations internally helps the seeker to realize that the seeker is the witness consciousness. Externally, it supports the seeker to identify the pure existence behind all the names and forms experienced in the creation. The pure existence outside and the pure consciousness within is one and same, the same reality. This consciousness is objectified with names and forms acting as upadhis. But this meditation can be practiced internally or externally with the help of any object in the world. By such meditation, one can realize that the nature of Brahman and the reality of creation are identical. In the Savikalpaka Samadhis, the names and forms in the external world are separated from unchanging pure existence in the experienced objects. Also, internally, various thought patterns like emotions, desires, anger, etc., are separated from the pure consciousness. The seeker thus realizes the Sat, the pure existence outside, at macrocosmic level, and Chit, the pure consciousness within, is same as Brahman at microcosmic level. This identification results in akhandakara vrittihi and akhandakara rasadvayam. Akhandakara rasaswadanam. Akhandakara rasaswadam in every experience will help the seeker to drop off the names and forms and to get absorbed in the Brahman. In the next slide, the shloka 29 is seen. The shloka says, Stabdi bhavaha rasaswadat trutiyaha purvavat mataha etaihi samadhibhihi shadbhihi nayet kalam nirantaram. The insensibility of the mind to the external objects as before on account of the experience of the bliss is designated as the third kind of samadhi. The seeker should continuously spend his time in these 6 types of samadhis. The word meaning of this shloka is described in the next slide. The pure existence is beyond Desha Kala Vastu, and Satchidananda Lakshanam in the shloka refers to the Brahman, which is unlimited existence, consciousness, and bliss. This uninterrupted reflection is called intermediate absorption or Shabdanuviddha Savikalpaka Samadhi. This is superior to the Drishyanuviddha Savikalpaka Samadhi described in the previous shloka and inferior to the Nirvikalpaka Samadhi described in this 29th shloka. In the shloka, the word Stabdhi Bhava indicates insensibility of the mind to react to the external objects when the seeker is completely absorbed in the Brahma Chintanam. Rasaswadat, from the experience of bliss. In the subjective experiences, internally the seeker separates the pure consciousness. Witnessing the thought modifications from the thoughts is a result of Savikalpaka Samadhi. The word Purvavat Mataha, it means as in the previous instances, like that samadhis described in the previous shlokas. Trutiyaha, that is the third kind of samadhi. Mataha means it is by the masters, opinions of these masters. The word nirantaram means always practiced continuously. If the seeker practices continuously, then only he will be able to establish himself in the Supreme Brahman or the Supreme Knowledge. The Patanjali Yoga Shastra supports this statement by saying, Satu Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Sevito Drudha Bhumihi. The knowledge of the self becomes firmly grounded by long, constant efforts with great passion. In the next slide, we see Swamy Vidyaranya prescribes 6 types of meditations for a seeker in the spiritual journey. Etaihi Shadbhihi Samadhibhihi. That is the word given to mention these 6 samadhis. Kalam is the time, Nayet is meaning it should be spent. So more about Akhandaika Rasaswadaha is described in the next slide. By the help of these subjective and objective meditations, kalam, time, nayet should be spent. Next slide, sir, please. Both the internal and external meditations lead to internal and external samadhis culminating in akhandaika rasaswadaha. This total absorption is called Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. This does not depend on either the will or the effort of the seeker. This leads to the Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, in which subject-object division is not felt because the conscious mind is not prominent. Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is a state of absorption in which Vedantic thoughts continue in subtle form. This natural absorption of the mind in the Akhandakara Vritti is because of the Akhandaika Rasaswadaha, the enjoyment of Ananda as Bimbananda, the pure bliss as a result of Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. Here Rasa refers to Bimbananda, the unchanging Ananda irrespective of the conditions of the mind. Pratibimbananda, the experiential pleasure or reflected happiness, ceases once the seeker concludes meditation. This reflected joy can be a bondage if one gets addicted to it. For this reason, Gaudapadacharya criticizes this rasaswada in Mandukya Karika and mentions it as an obstacle in the Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. The words Stabdhi Bhava and Kashayaha are synonyms used to indicate the stunning or immobilization of the mind due to impurities of the mind. With this verse, the author concludes the description of all 6 Samadhi Abhyasas and it should be, and advises that it should be practiced continuously until it becomes a sahaja samadhi, sahaja sthiti. Through these 6 kinds of meditations described so far, the seeker will be in a state of sarvatra brahma darshanam. Tat chintanam, tat kathanam, tat anyonyam, tat prabodhanam. That is, they defined as Brahma Abhyasam in Panchadashi and Yoga Vasishtam. Thank you. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ramaji, for a very nice explanation of verse 29, where the focus is on Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. We have to understand that this is one of the finest forms of understanding of meditation as open eye meditation or closed eye meditation, where you make use of any object or any thought, and then to be able to distinguish it from consciousness, or to be able to see it as who is the seer, internally consciousness and externally to be able to see the existence aspect. Once a person practices various forms of meditation, a person can come to, based upon your purva janma punya, particularly for those who have been into the field of meditation for a long time, can come to a state when the mind goes into what is called Akhanda Akara Vritti. Akhanda means indivisible, and there is only one thought, and that thought is the Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. That means the mind is not working on anything else. And because the mind is not working on anything else, the mind seems to be functionally useless as far as Vyavahara is concerned. Also, the mind seems to be enjoying itself. Now, there is a slight distinction between two obstacles in meditation described by Gaudapadacharya in Mandukya, where he used the word rasaswada. That means when a person is enjoying his meditation, where it is not where it is form of what is called a Vishayananda. Just like I enjoy good food, I can enjoy meditation, and the person craves for that form of experience. That is an obstacle. But here it is not rasa aswada, but it is as much as experiencing Atmananda. So therefore it is not an obstacle. Secondly, the word stabdihi has to be understood. In Mandukya, whenever a person is stunned, the mind becomes dysfunctional for whatever reason. Here, the mind is also dysfunctional for Vyavaharika purposes, but the mind is completely absorbed in Akhanda Akara Vritti. These are important words. That means there is no other disturbing thought other than the Mahavakya, I am Atma Brahma. With this verse, we have completed the meditation form. And then what is the benefit of it? Triveni, please.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Dehabhimane galite vignate paramatmani yatra yatra manoyati tatra tatra samadhayaha. When identification with the body disappears and the Supreme Self is known, wherever the mind goes, there one experiences meditation. Next slide, please. As a result of the repeated cyclic sadhana of Shravana, Manana, Nidhidhyasana, Abhyasa, of which Shravanam is supposed to be the primary, in Sanskrit is called Angi. Mananam and Nidhidhyasanam are supposed to be supporting sadhanas called Angam. By this Angi Anga Sadhana Abhyasa, as Shankaracharya said in Vakya Vritti, Aham Brahmeti Vakyartha Bodho Yavadridi Bhavet. Until my understanding is very clear, all these three, Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhidhyasanam, must continue. And as a result of that, Paramatmani Vignate, this knowledge is clearly gained. Aham Brahmasmi is gained. But Vedanta is talking about me, the ever available Chaitanyam, which was Brahman, which is Brahman and which will ever be Brahman. This clear understanding is important. Therefore, Vijnate. That we indicates clear knowledge that I am Purnaha with the body, I am Purnaha without the body, I am Purnaha in the presence of the body and in the absence of the body. And as even my understanding of this fact that I am the body with consciousness, I have to reverse that understanding. I am the consciousness with an incidental body. And as this understanding becomes clearer and clearer, I claim the Atma more and I begin to disclaim the body. Both are like the two sides of the same sadhana. The more I claim the Atma, the more I disclaim the body. You cannot claim both the Atma and body simultaneously. Therefore, Atmanishta presupposes Anatma Abhimana Tyaga. Therefore, as I claim the Paramatma more and more, Deha Abhimana Galitam. Galitam means it falls. Deha Abhimana falls. The claiming that I am the body falls. That intellectual notion drops which existed because of ignorance as the ignorance goes away. Deha Adhyasa, Deha Abhimana falls. Galanam means falling. It slips and it goes. And this also must be very, very clearly understood. Deha Abhimana is of two types. One is the Samanya Abhimana, which is caused by the Prarabdha Karma, because of which I am associated with this body-mind complex. And therefore, I experience bodily conditions like hunger, thirst, old age-born weakness, pain, etc. As long as Prarabdha is there, I will feel the biological pleasure and pain. We should never think that after Atmagnanam, he will no more have physical pain. Because there's a very big misconception that Gnanis won't feel their bodies. And they immediately quote the examples of Sadashiva Brahmendra and Ramana Maharshi. It seems Sadashiva Brahmendra was walking and somebody cut his hand and he did not know because Deha Abhimana was absent. And somebody again took the hand and fixed it back. And the example of Ramana Maharshi says that he underwent surgery without anesthesia, and therefore there is a conclusion that it is the indication as to whether I am realized or not. Remember, in certain diseases also, certain skin diseases also, one won't feel any pain. They all will become liberated. Therefore, Jnanam does not stop biological pain. It is caused by the Deha Abhimana, which is caused by Prarabdha Karma. Jnanis have got Prarabdha, and because of Prarabdha, the Shariram Sambandha will be there. So hunger, thirst can withstand, but cannot stop. So this is what is called as Samanya Abhimana and will continue as long as Prarabdha is there. Then there is a Vishesha Abhimana in the form of intellectual conclusion which is born of ignorance. The intellectual conclusion, that notion is born out of ignorance, is that notion, I am the physical body and the birth of the body is my birth and the death of the body is my death and death is the end of this life. They're all intellectual notions. Because of that, there is a samsara. There's a sense of mortality caused by the Ajnana Janya Abhimanaha, which is called intellectual notion. Vedanta will destroy this intellectual and wrong conclusion. Therefore, the difference is the emotional problems born out of the intellectual confusion that won't be there. Just as a baby, when it has got some biological problems caused by prarabdha, cries. But the baby doesn't have the worry that I am sick and because of that my mother and father have problems and they have to take me to the hospital. The baby doesn't have those worries caused by ignorance and it goes through biological pain. Similarly, a Gnani will go through biological pleasures or pain, but like a baby, a Gnani doesn't have the worries caused by Deha Abhimana, which is an intellectual conclusion. It is a very subtle difference, but we have to note that. That is meant by Deha Abhimana Tyagaha, change at the intellectual level. And thereafter, after the understanding is clear, The author says that the person does not require any more sadhana. Once the understanding is clear, he doesn't require Shravanam, he doesn't require Mananam, he doesn't require Nidhidhyasanam too. Not that he should not do. He may choose to dwell upon the teaching. He may choose to sit in meditation, and he may choose to continue in Samadhi Abhyasa. He may not also. Either way, it doesn't make a difference for him. Then what is his condition? He is in Sahaja Samadhi, which means he remembers the teaching all the time, and this constant remembrance is natural to him. This natural remembrance is called Sahaja Samadhi, Atmanishtha, Jnanarishta, Sthita Prajna, Brahmi Sthiti. The word Brahmi Sthiti occurred in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter. Esha Brahmi Sthitihi Partha Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati Sthitva Samya Manantkalepi Brahma Nirvanam Ruchati. Whatever the ups and downs caused by Prarabdha, doesn't forget the fact Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. He may scream in pain, that is biological. And it is a biological event like a baby screaming in pain. Just as a baby does not have worries or emotional problems caused by wrong intellectual conclusion, Nani is also like a baby doesn't know what is worry. So differentiate biological pain from emotional sorrow or pain. So yatra yatra mano yati, wherever his mind goes, whatever be his experience, he is in samadhi. Because when the eyes are open, Brahman is available outside as Sat, and when I close my eyes, the same Brahman is available as Chit. This he remembers all the time. Therefore, it is called Samadhayaha. Every perception is a samadhi. For example, a musician, whatever song he sings, it might be the toughest song of Swami Dikshitar, so says Swamiji, and the talam may be complicated. But whatever he does, in one corner of the mind, the Shruti he never loses sight of. Similarly, the Gnani also doesn't lose sight of the Shruti, meaning the Vedic teaching that Sat alone is Satyam. Therefore, yatra yatra mano yati, whatever perception happens, tatra tatra samadhayaha, there he is aware of the presence of I, the Brahman, in the background. This phrase is also used in the context of understanding the state of mind during spiritual practice and samadhi, where the mind's wanderings are seen as leading to the experience of the self. Thank you. Harihi Om.
Thank you very much, Triveni. Excellent explanation of a very nice mantra that has to be remembered. What is the ultimate objective of all Vedanta? Behadimane galite. That identification with this body-mind should go. Bhagavan Ramana says, Naham Beham. Then Koham, inquire. Through Drishya Viveka, Vijnate Paramatmani. I understand I'm not this body-mind complex, but that Atma Tattva. Once this understanding is there, yatra yatra manoyati, wherever your mind goes, you don't have to do any form of meditation, and that is the real understanding. Now, Dehabhimane, very nicely explained both by Swamiji and very nicely brought out by Triveni. Now, there is something called Samanya Jnanam. That means because my body undergoes various modifications, it experiences pain, aging, sickness, and death. Whether a jnani or a jnani, those things undergo will continue. But what makes a big difference for a jnani is, oh, I'm getting old, I'm getting sick, I'm going to die, what will happen to me? So Samanya Jnanam is common, but this Vishesha Jnanam, this disappears. That distinction we have to have. We go to the next verse, another important verse that will be explained by Dr. Rupa. Dr. Rupa, please.
Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Today we'll be discussing Drik, Drishya, Viveka, verse 31. The first 30 verses have been done, and the 31st verse is almost like a summary verse. Vidyate Hridaya Granthi, Chidyante Sarva Samshayaha, Shiyante Chasya Karmani, Tasmin Drishte Paravare. Now, when we go to the English meaning of the same, the knots of the heart are cut, all the doubts are resolved, all his karmas get exhausted. One who has the vision of him, both in the high and in the low. Next slide. All aspects of the Vedantic teaching are covered in these 31 verses. This verse is from the Mundaka Upanishad. Here in this verse, we talk about the Jnana Phalam. Author Vidyaranya says the Phalam is gaining the knowledge about the self or the Atma. In this slide, next slide, please. In this slide here, the problem of samsara is because of non-discrimination between the real and the unreal. At the subjective level, there is non-discrimination between the real seer and the unreal seen. Here, the real is called the chit, that is the chaitanya. At the objective level, non-discrimination is between the real Brahman and the unreal Nama Rupa Prapancha. Here, the real is called Sat, the existence. The non-discrimination is the cause of the samsara, and hence the solution is discrimination or viveka or separation. Therefore, when we remove or separate the chit from the body-mind complex and the sat from the nama-rupa prapancha, what remains is the chit and the sat alone, which is Brahman or the Atman. And this discrimination is the only solution. And this Atman is Satyam, and the body-mind complex and the Nama-rupa prapancha or Mithya. This sounds easy, but this knowledge has to be assimilated. Our habitual identification with the body has to go away. Long Nidhidhyasanam is required to remove this habitual identification. Now coming to the verse proper. Tasman drishte paravare. The word tasman means that Satchit Atman or Brahman. Here the word drishte means which is clearly understood. What is clearly understood? You have to remember the Mahavakyam taught by the Guru during the Sravanam. Here the word paravare has two terms in it. The word param refers to karanam, that is the cause. And the word avaram refers to karyam, that is the effect. Now, when we look at the karanam and the karyam, or the cause and the effect, the Brahman appears in the form of both the Karana Ishvara and the Karya Jiva. Next slide. To better understand this, let us take the clay and the pot example. Clay alone is Karanam in the lump form, and clay alone is the Karyam in the pot form. Next slide, please. Vidyate Hrudaya Granthi. Here the Hrudaya Granthi means the knot in the heart. Knot means ignorance, or it could also mean desire. But in this context, it means ignorance or ajnanam. Again, Hrudayam means the heart. But again, in this context, it means the mind, which is the ignorance of the mind. This ignorance ties us down to the body. So by gaining the knowledge of the self, we are destroying this, and that is called Ajnana Nashaha. Next slide, please. So the other important thing is, by gaining this, Sarva Samshaya Chidyante, all the doubts are clear. Therefore, there is disappearance of ignorance. We reach that blissful state. Next slide. And this leads to asya karmani shiyante. All the karmas are destroyed. When it comes to prarabdha karma, it gets exhausted, sanchita karma gets destroyed, and the agami karma gets avoided. And when this happens, there is no punarapi jananam and punarapi maranam. Next slide. During one's lifetime, when all the karmas are destroyed, one attains Jivan Mukti. And the end of prarabdha, as we said, prarabdha gets exhausted, they attain Videha Mukti also. Then we have this freedom from Punarjanma. So in summary, we have a problem, which is non-discrimination. And the solution for that is discrimination. I think in this whole chapter, we are trying to know the seer and seeing discrimination. Thank you. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rupa. Very nicely explained. I personally love this verse from Mundaka. Let me take 1 minute to tell you what we need to remember. We began our understanding of Drik, Drishya, Viveka by saying our capital is Hridaya Granthi, the knot in my heart. And because of the knot in my heart, avidya, kama, karma, punarjanma happens. But if Drik, Drishya, Viveka, the message has come very clearly, as it should have, thanks to Swamiji's explanation, Vidyate, it is broken. The Hridaya Granthi is gone. And once the Hridaya Granthi is gone, what is it? All my doubts is gone. Who am I? Doubt is gone. Why? What is this world? Bhagavan, why is there so much suffering in the world? All those doubts are gone. All my samshaya is gone. Kshiyante cha asya karmani. We have 3 forms of karma. Sanchita karma is gone. Prarabdha karma will be made insignificant or, made mithya. And agami karma is not created. This is important. Tasmin drishte paravare. Tasmin, that Parabrahma Paramatma I see as myself. Drishte here means I'm not seeing Bhagwan, but I know I am that. Paravare means para means cause, avara means the effect. Like we say, Brahman is the cause of the world. Brahman with Maya becomes manifest. So from unmanifest to manifest. Paravare can also be seen as immanent and transcendental. Now I understand that Tasmin Drishte as something so close to me, as immanent in me. My sarvam idam prote sutre maniganava, that Brahman is in and through. At the same time, it is transcendental. It is beyond me. This is the understanding comes from Drik, Drishya, Viveka, from Mundakopanishad. Now we have gone to a new part of Drik, Drishya, Viveka, part 2. That will be opening verse explained by Purnima. Purnima, please.
Thank you, sir. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Drik Drishya Viveka, verse 32. With the 31st verse, the Drik Drishya text is almost complete. In the last verse, we learned Tasmin Drishte Paravare. Brahman alone appears as both Karanam and Karyam. I, the ever-experienced consciousness, am Brahman. Since the author has talked about all aspects of Vedantic teaching with these 31 verses, logically it should come to an end. The main teaching is over, but in some books 15 more verses are added. It is a sort of revision enabling us to go over the text which we have just studied, but in a different way. It answers a vital question. If we are really Brahman, who is the one who is in bondage? Who is the one who gets liberation? Brahman is never in bondage. So basically the question is about the nature of Jiva. Jiva is the individual, you, I, all of us. If we are really Brahman, what are we right now? That is the question. Answering this question, the author has added 15 more verses and given us a new way of dealing with this whole idea, a new paradigm, a new structure. The verse Avachinnaschidabhasaha trutiyasvapnakalpitaha Vigneyastrividho jivaha tatradyah paramarthikaha. Next slide, sir. The author is known for his creativity. He says, conceive of an individual in three ways. He talks about three jivas within one individual himself. Paramarthika jiva, the witness consciousness, the witness of the mind, the original consciousness, the OC. Vyavaharika jiva, the reflection of witness consciousness in the mind in waking state, the first RC, reflected consciousness. Vyavaharika chidabhasa. The Vyavaharika jiva is available as long as the mind is active. Pratibhasika jiva, the reflection of witness consciousness in the mind in the dream state. The second RC, Pratibhasika chidabhasa. This Pratibhasika jiva is available as long as the dream lasts. So there is one OC and two RCs. We are aware of the two RCs, that is Vyavaharika jiva and Pratibhasika jiva, because we experience both the waking state and dream state. This shloka is trying to teach us about the first one, that is the Paramarthika jiva, the OC. Next slide, sir. When one wakes up from dream, the Pratibhasika jiva along with the dream body-mind complex resolves. In Shushupti, deep sleep state, one experiences the Vyavaharika jiva and the waking world is also resolved. The struggle of Vedanta is, instead of claiming the Pratibhasika jiva or the Vyavaharika jiva as I, learn to claim the Paramarthika jiva as I. Next slide, sir. Now let's look at the shloka. Vigneyas trividho jivaha. It means reality of jiva is to be distinctly understood from three different standpoints. There are 3 points of view of the same reality. Avachinnaha, the original consciousness which is everywhere. It is enclosed in my body also. That OC is here called Avachinna Chaitanyam. Avachinna means enclosed. It should be understood as Chit, Paramarthika Jiva. Chidabhasaha, the OC reflected in the waker's mind, which experiences the Jagrat Prapancha, the transactional world in Jagrat Avastha, in the waking state. This Chidabhasaha lasts as long as the mind is active. Then Tritiyaha, the third one is Swapna Kalpitaha. Chidabhasaha obtaining in the Swapna Shariram, the body-mind sense complex projected in a dream by the waker. This is Pratibhasika Jiva. Tatradyah Paramarthikaha. Among these three jivas, the first one, that is the enclosed OC, the absolute consciousness, the Chit is Paramarthikaha. Paramarthikaha means absolute reality, unnegatable. The one which we found in the very first verse of this text. The eyes are the seer, the form is the seen. The eyes become the seen, the mind is the seer. The mind becomes the seen, the witness becomes the seer. That witness, that is none other than Brahman, the pure consciousness. This is eternally unchanging. The reality that you are, the absolute reality. Next slide, sir. Thus, the Paramarthika is the absolute reality. Vyavaharika is the empirical reality or the empirical individual, and the Pratibhasika Jiva, the illusory individual, like you find in a dream. The lower level of reality is resolved into the next higher level of reality. Illusory level of reality gets resolved into the transactional level of reality. Snake resolved into the rope snake example. Here is the insight. Upon enlightenment, what happens is the empirical level of reality is resolved into the absolute reality. The Vyavaharika is resolved into the Paramarthika. The author is going to use this framework in the next few verses to explain the status of the individual. Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Purnima. That was an excellent explanation of what we are going to study in the next few classes about what is the three Jivas. What is Paramarthika Jiva, the one I experience in my dream, Vyavahara Jiva that I experience in my waking, and the Paramarthika Jiva, which is my real self. How much have we understood all this? Let us have in the form of a quiz. Dr. Anupama has nicely framed certain questions. These are a difficult topic. I will try my best to answer. Dr. Anupama, please.
Thank you, sir. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. We have heard a lot about Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. So, let us try to understand now the difference between Nirvikalpa and Savikalpa. So, how does Nirvikalpa Samadhi differ from Savikalpa Samadhi? Please tell me a few differences.
There is a very nice slide which tells us that, we have to keep on trying various forms of meditations. That means we use Shabda, we use Drishya, we use our mind, and then we make all these effort. But once we attain to a particular level through certain practice, through certain grace, then what happens, like what we see a person who's falling, then a state of Akhandakara Vritti. That means this Ayamatma Brahma, this Mahavakya becomes into a subconscious state. It goes into a heightened state of awareness where the mind is now completely focused on these kinds of thoughts. This is my understanding. Please explain.
Yes, sir. So, Savikalpa Samadhi, as we have just heard, is voluntary compared to Nirvikalpa, which is involuntary. Savikalpa involves the conscious mind and Nirvikalpa, the subconscious mind. In Savikalpa Samadhi, the Ahankara is functional. Therefore, the Triputi exists, duality exists. Whereas in Nirvikalpa, Ahankara is dormant, there is no Triputi, and it's a state of Advaita, non-dual. In Savikalpa Samadhi, there is awareness of the body-mind complex, and Nirvikalpa, there is no awareness of the body-mind complex. The thoughts in Savikalpa are called Sthula Vrittis, whereas those of Nirvikalpa Samadhi are called Sukshma Vrittis. So which of these factors facilitate Nirvikalpaka Samadhi? Please select the most appropriate. Is it an aptitude for self-awareness? Is it knowledge of Brahman, performance of Pancha Mahayajnas, Rajo Guna, all of the above, or none of the above?
Certainly not Rajoguna, certainly not performance of Pancha Mahayajnas. It therefore cannot be all of the above or none of the above. I have to choose between knowledge of Brahman or an aptitude of self-awareness. I will choose the aptitude of self-awareness.
That's right, because knowledge of Brahman could be just academic. So it is an aptitude for self-awareness that takes possession of the mind. This is called Swa Anubhuti Rasa Aveshad. Next one, please. Yeah. So we know that Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is a state of absorption in which Sthula Vedantic thoughts seep into the subconscious mind as a continuous stream of Sukshma thoughts, very similar to water seeping through a leaking roof. Now, is this phenomenon natural? And is it very specific or unique to Nirvikalpaka Samadhi?
Please repeat the question again.
Is this phenomena of seepage of thoughts from the conscious to the subconscious mind a natural phenomena? And if so, is it specific to Vedantic thoughts or could it happen to any other thoughts?
Broadly, see, it can happen to any other thoughts. For example, if a person is all the time focused on business, on how to make money, and his thoughts are so focused on that, Yatra yatra manoyati, wherever the mind goes, wherever he goes, the focus is on how I can make. So it is possible, even vyavahara, that these thoughts can percolate into the subconscious mind, which we are using in the form of Nirvikalpaka Samadhi.
Yes, sir. So this is a natural phenomenon. Through repetition and emotional reinforcement, thoughts, whether Vedantic or Laukik, are absorbed by the subconscious mind, and these subsequently become our vasanas. Vasanas means a habitual way of behaving and thinking. So in this verse, stabdi bhavaha rasa swadaha tritiyaha purva vanmataha or janmataha, whatever the variation. Taking the word stabdi bhavaha, it here means, please select the best answer, mind stunned into inaction in this context, mind which is muted, an undistracted mind, a stubborn mind or confused mind.
All right. Now, so because we have already studied Gaudapadacharya, there can be a little bit of confusion. But here in the study of Drik, Drishya, Viveka, when we are studying various forms of meditation and Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, Stabdi Baba means that state of mind where the mind is fully absorbed in Akhanda Akara Vritti. That means I am Brahman, and that related thoughts only. That means the mind is not available for any other transactional thoughts. I will choose number 3, undistracted mind.
That's right. So this is called only sajatiya thoughts, vijatiya pratyaha rahitatvam. That means there are no anatmakara vrittis, but only akhanda akara vrittis. Next one, please. Yeah. In Mandukya Karikas, both Rasa Aswada and Stabdi Bhavana were described as pratibandhas or obstacles to meditation. But here they seem to be qualities which facilitate meditation. Is there a controversy? Please explain.
Fortunately, Swamiji has very clearly explained, although the terms are the same, the distinction between the same terms in Mandukya, where the word rasa aswada is taken as Vishayananda. That means when I enjoy the experience of meditation, it's like enjoying a particular delightful food, and I want that experience to happen again. So meditation now becomes a form of a Vishayananda, and therefore it is an obstacle to meditation. But here in Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, in Drishya Viveka, the word Rasa Aswadam literally means Bimbananda, or the joy that I experience in Nirvikalpaka Samadhi when my mind entertains no other thoughts. That is one. Stabdi Bhava. Stabdi Bhava in Mandukya was taken as a stunned mind. When you have something unexpected happening, or because of some bad experiences, the mind goes into a frozen state. It is a dysfunctional state. Here we are not talking about that state. Stabdi means a mind that is fully available only for Mahavakyas, Akhanda Akara Vritti.
That's right. There is no controversy, as you just said. The word rasa has two meanings with respect to the two anandas. Pratibimba ananda, as referred to in Gaudapada's Karikas, is an experiential pleasure in the mind, which is also called a reflected ananda, which not only depends upon the state of mind, which is called pratibimba rasaha, but also the prarabdha of the person. This pratibimba rasa aswada becomes a bondage because it is an external source. It could be addictive, so addictive that one could stray from his vyavaharika responsibilities. The rasa here is with respect to Bimbananda, my own nature, my Atmananda, which is available to me when in all the avasthas. And claiming this Atmananda is here called rasa aswada, Bimba rasa svikara. And again about stabdi, as you have just said, the two meanings here in Gaudapada Karikas, it referred to kashaya, which was an obstacle to meditation, a malfunctioning or stunning of the mind due to negative thoughts which surface from the subconscious mind or from some shocking event. And this distracts the mind. Here, stabdi bhava means absorption of the mind in Vedantic thought. In a way, the mind is unresponsive or immobilized with respect to laukika or anatma thoughts. Please say which of these is true or false. All 6 samadhis should be practiced until one attains nishta or sahaji samadhi.
All 6 samadhis should be practiced until one attains nishta, so it is true.
Once a nishta, nidhidhyasanam is not mandatory.
Once a person is nishta, that means Brahmi sthiti, nidhidhyasanam is certainly not mandatory at all.
Yeah, he's a siddha purusha. Nirvikalpaka Samadhi is mandatory for moksha.
Nirvikalpa Samadhi is not mandatory for moksha because moksha is not an sadhyam, it's a siddha vastu.
Jnanam arises in Samadhi.
Not true because Jnanam arises through Shravanam.
Pratyaksha Pramana is the means of Atma Jnanam.
No, because Atma cannot be seen. So Atma has to be understood through knowledge.
Which Pramana? Shabda Pramana.
Yes.
Among the 3 sadhanas, Shravana, Mananam and Nidhidhyasanam is the primary one. Is it true?
False, because Shravanam is the primary one.
Angi. So without adequate Shravanam, Nidhidhyasanam only gives chitta ekagrita.
Very true. I recollect when we used to listen to Mano Buddhi Hankara without knowing all these things, Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham. It was only giving us Chitta Ekagrita. We used to enjoy that state, Rasa Swada also. But without Shravanam, Nidhidhyasanam gives only Chitta Ekagrita true.
That's right. See, we know that the body-mind complex is limited, but Brahman is unlimited. So do we have to die to become the limitless Brahman?
No, it is our true nature. We need to understand it through Guru and Shastras.
Absolutely right. So when Aham Brahma Asmi becomes Nishta Jnana, as we have heard in today's verses, Paramatmani Vijnate, I know I am Purna, irrespective of my body-mind complex, as Atma Nishta, automatically Anatma Abhimana Tyaga happens. And this is called Deha Abhimana Galitam, which becomes a natural consequence to claiming Paramatma. So, Deha Galitam, Deha Abhimana Galitam does not spare me from Shadvikaras. Why is it so? I have dropped the Deha, but still the Shadvikaras are with me.
Very true. This is intellectual. So I have intellectually dissociated with the identification that this body is mine. But then as long as the prarabdha is there, the body still becomes a useful instrument for us to transact. And the body will go through asti bhati, through the aging process, through the sickness process and the process of death for a jnani as well as for an ajnani. But a jnani, because the deha abhimana is not there, when the body is sick, he says the body is sick, I'm okay. When the body is dying, he will say body is dying, I'm okay. That consequence, so this is what is called samanya jnanam is there, but the vishesha, the exaggeration, the anujvara that comes with all these problems, that is not there with jnanam.
Yes, Madam Triveni had explained this in great depth. We know that Deha Abhimanas of 2 types, the Samanya Abhimana, result of Prarabdha Karma. So I have to experience the Shadvikaras, which are also called my biological experiences. The Vishesha Abhimana, however, is an intellectual and often an erroneous conclusion born out of ignorance by identifying with this body-mind complex. This is called Ajnana Janya Abhimana. Vedanta destroys this Vishesha Abhimana or Anujvara. So a person for whom every perception is Samadhi is called Atmanishta, Jnananishta, Asthira Prajna, Brahmi Sthiti, none of the above or all of the above.
All of the above.
That's right. So in this verse, we have seen Tasmin Drishte Paravare. Very quickly, what does Tasmin mean?
Tasmin means that. That means Parabrahma, Paramatma, Brahman.
That's right. And Drishte means?
Drishte, Brahman cannot be seen because Brahman is not apart from me. That means I am now able to identify Brahman as myself, technically Aparokshataya.
That's right. Parabare means?
Para and Avara, higher and lower. One with Upadhi, one without Upadhi. That means with creation, without creation, with Maya, without Maya.
Cause, effect. Para is cause, Avara is effect. What are Karanam and Karyam the same? Because you call Brahman cause and effect. Does it mean it's the same thing?
With Upadhi, without Upadhi.
That's right. So
With Maya,
Karanam is,
without Maya.
Karanam is with unmanifest Namarupa. Karyam is with manifest Rupa. Substance being the same and Namarupa being Mithya, if we delete the Namarupa, we find Karyam and Karanam are substantially the same. So, what are the benefits of Tasmin Drishte?
Vidyate Hridaya Granthi. My ignorance is gone. So that great knot of my heart is gone. Chidyante Sarva Samshaya. All the doubts about my true nature, what is God, what is this world, why there's so much problems, all the doubts have been cleared. Tasmin Drishte par Vidyate Hridaya Chidyante Sarva Samkshiyante Chasya Karmani. All my karmas. That means my prarabdha karma has to be taken as mithya. That means it is there for my body, not for me. My agami karma is not created because there is no doer. There is no sense of I'm doing with Jnanam. And the Sanchita cloud data is destroyed.
That's right. Nothing to say. It's been completely answered. Yeah. So in this last verse, we have seen Avachinna Chidhabhasa Tritiyaha Swapna Kalpitaha, which meant enclosed within us are the three Jivas. Can you please explain the three Jivas?
For the rest of our classes will be on this only. So one is Pratibhasika, the Jiva that I experience in dream. And the moment I wake up, that has gone. I identify with this body mind, that brings the Vyavahara. And when spiritual awakening happens, I identify that Vyavahara is also not me. I am the Paramarthika Jiva.
That's right. So this gives us a very, very important message. Next slide, please. This is the takeaway message from today's class. Claim the Paramarthika Jiva. Put on the Vesha of Vyavaharika Jiva. There is no need to remove the Vesham at all, but just remember Vesham is Vesham. It will not cause samsara. This is a state of being a Jivan Mukti. Life continues as a Leela. Thank you.
Thank you so much to our dear speakers, Dr. Satyanarayana, Srimati Rama, Dr. Rupa, Srimati Triveni, and Srimati Purnima for bringing this great knowledge of these profound verses to us in a way that we can understand. And to you, Dr. Anupama and Hegde sir, for these wonderful questions which really test our knowledge, and it again explains these concepts to us, so that if we have any doubts, they are also cleared. So this is, I think, Advaita Vedanta at its best, and we are so grateful to all of you for helping us understand. Thanks to our dear viewers for staying with us class after class. We will meet again on the 7th of July as we continue with our Gita for Inner Freedom and Transformation class, session 80. Friends, it is needless to mention that all of this knowledge, every word of it, every scripture, every text that we have studied so far at Param Vedanta has only been possible due to the grace of our gurus. We are eternally grateful to them for helping us stay and develop more interest in our Shastras so we are able to grow spiritually. You are welcome to make a contribution to the Param Vedanta Guru Dakshina Fund that is collected twice a year. And we have Guru Purnima that is just coming up on the 10th of July. And all of the money that is collected will be offered to the lotus feet of our gurus because they are engaged in so many projects which propagate our Sanatana Dharma. Please do remember to fill in the Google form once you have made the contribution. The details are mentioned on your screen. With that, we come to the end of today's beautiful class. We end with a Shanti Patha. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Thank you.